When did you last feel the weight of your own power, unyielding and true, coursing through you like a river breaking its banks?
Close your eyes for a moment. Search your memory for that fleeting second when you stood tall, when your thoughts aligned with purpose, when the world seemed to bow, if only for a heartbeat, to the force of your will. Was it a decision you made, a truth you spoke, a dream you dared to chase? Or is it still a stranger, a ghost you've glimpsed but never grasped? Most of us drift through life, caught in currents we don't control, reacting, bending, surviving, but never ruling. So let me ask you, raw and direct, are you ready to claim the throne of your mind, to think with the power and purpose of a king? Most people live as pawns in a game they don't even see, oblivious to the crown waiting within. They're not weak by nature, they're asleep, lulled by fear, doubt, and the endless hum of voices telling them to stay small, to follow, to fit. You've seen them, haven't you? The ones who shuffle through days, their eyes dull, their choices a reflex, their lives a script written by everyone but themselves. They don't rule their minds rule them, a chaotic council of worry, habit, and hesitation. And you're not so far from them. You felt the weight of indecision, the sting of self-doubt, the pull to shrink when you could soar. The world doesn't want kings. It wants pieces, movable, predictable, tame. But a king doesn't bend. A king commands. Why haven't you? Let me tell you about David. He was 32, a sales rep with a quick smile and a quicker knack for pleasing others. For years, he lived on autopilot, nodding to his boss's demands, agreeing with friends to avoid fights, chasing goals that weren't his because they looked good on paper. He was good at it. 2 promotions came, people liked him, life seemed fine. But late at night, alone with his thoughts, a hollow gnawed at him. He'd say yes when he meant no, stay silent when he wanted to speak, follow paths others paved because choosing his own felt too heavy. One day, a client humiliated him in a meeting, and David, as always, took it with a grin. But driving home, he pulled over, hands shaking, and realized he wasn't living. He was reacting, a pawn in a life he didn't own. That night, he quit his job, enrolled in a course he'd always wanted, and started saying no. It was messy, friends drifted, money tightened, but David woke up. He began to rule his mind, not follow its fears. Does that stir something in you? Could that be your wake-up call? You've felt it, haven't you? That spark inside, that restless pulse waiting to command, if only you'd let it. You know the moments, when a thought cuts through the noise, clear and fierce, urging you to act, to lead, to be more than a shadow of their expectations. But you've also felt the chains, the doubts that whisper, not yet, not you, not now. You've hesitated, haven't you? Stepped back when you could have stepped forward, muted your voice to keep their peace, let fear sit on the throne that's yours. I see you, carrying that tension, that clash between the king you could be and the pawn you've let yourself play. It's not just unease, it's a cry, a roar from the depths of you, begging to be heard. Why do you keep it locked away? This isn't a gentle nudge, it's a thunderbolt, a challenge to your core. The psychology of power starts here, in the mind you've left ungoverned. Most people don't rule, they're ruled by anxiety, by others' opinions, by a world that loves their smallness. They're not incapable, they're unwilling, too afraid of the weight, the solitude, the responsibility of thinking like a king. A king doesn't drift, a king decides with clarity, with purpose, with a fire that burns through excuses. You've drifted, reader, haven't you? Every time you've let someone else's voice drown yours. Every time you've chosen comfort over courage. Every time you've waited for permission to be you. It's not weakness, it's surrender, a betrayal of the power pulsing in your veins. But surrender's not your fate, not yet. Feel the drama of this, the stakes rising like a storm. Picture your mind as a kingdom, vast, wild, waiting. Right now, it's a land of fragments. Doubts skirmish in the shadows, fears hold court, old wounds whisper rebellion. But it's yours to rule, reader, yours to unify. David stood in his own chaos, a man lost in a life others built, until he chose to lead. He didn't banish fear, he faced it, claimed it, turned it into fuel. You're standing there too, aren't you? At the gates of your own mind, the crown within reach, the throne empty. The world wants you to kneel, to react, to follow their map. But a king draws his own, not with their ink, but with his will. What stops you from picking up the pen? This is where it begins, where the air grows electric with possibility. You've been a passenger too long, letting life steer while you grip the edges. But power isn't out there. It's in here, in the thoughts you shape, the choices you own, the purpose you forge. Most people won't claim it. They'll stay pawns, content in their cages, because ruling feels too big, too lonely, too real. They'll live half-lives, echoes of what could have been, because they never dared to think with strength. But you're different, aren't you? You're here, feeling that spark, that itch to rise. David felt it on that drive, when he pulled over and chose himself. You feel it now, a call, a challenge, a fire that won't be ignored. So are you ready? Ready to rule your mind, to think with power and purpose, to step into the king you were born to be? The world's loud, chaotic, pulling you every way but forward. But inside, there's a stillness, a strength, a throne waiting for you to claim. You've lost time to doubt, to fear, to others' scripts, but you haven't lost you. Not yet. The crown's heavy, yes. It demands clarity, courage, a will that doesn't bend. But it's yours, reader, if you'll take it. Stop waiting. Stop shrinking. Stop letting the world rule what's yours to command. Your mind's a kingdom, and you're its king. Step up, claim it, and watch how fast the world learns to bow to your reign. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung's words pierce the veil of our everyday haze, a clarion call to awaken the ruler within. He didn't see you as a mere passenger in your own story, adrift on waves of chance or circumstance. No, Jung saw a king, a sovereign buried beneath layers of doubt, habit, and fear, waiting to claim the throne of your mind. What if the chaos of your life, the stumbles, the doubts, the endless tug of others' voices, isn't a curse but a call? What if it's a kingdom in disarray, pleading for you to rise and rule with power and purpose? Jung's vision was no fairy tale. It was a map to the self, drawn in shadows and light. He spoke of archetypes, ancient patterns etched in the soul, and among them, the king, the one who brings order, who wields authority, who stands as both creator and protector of his realm. This isn't a crown of gold or a scepter of stone. It's the mind, unified, purposeful, awake. The king within you isn't born in comfort. He's forged in the crucible of choice, where you face the unconscious, the fears, the wounds, the raw pulse of who you are, and make it yours. Most never dare. They sleep through their lives, calling their chains fate. But you're here, eyes half open, heart stirring. So let me ask, what if the throne's been yours all along, and you've just forgotten how to sit? The philosophy is stark, almost brutal in its clarity. You're not powerless, you're asleep. Jung didn't mince words. Your life's chaos isn't random. It's the unconscious ruling where you failed to lead. The king within doesn't flinch from the dark. He walks into it, names it, claims it. He's not a tyrant, crushing all dissent, but a sovereign, weaving shadow and light into purpose. You've felt him, haven't you? That fleeting surge when you've stood firm, spoken true, acted with a clarity that silenced the noise. But you've also felt the drift, the moments you've let fear steer, let others' voices drown your own, let the world's chaos sit on your throne. Why do you let it? Why do you call that drift fate when it's a kingdom waiting for your command? You're not a victim of life, you're a ruler who's abdicated. Most people live this way, pawns in their own minds, reacting to shadows they never face. They're not weak, they're unwilling, too scared to look within, too comfortable in disorder to seek the crown. Jung saw it. The unconscious isn't a monster. It's a mirror, showing you the parts you've ignored, the anger, the hunger, the strength you've buried. Ignore it, and it rules you, your choices, your paths, your pain. You've done it, haven't you? Let worry choose your words. Let doubt pick your steps. Let the world's noise drown your will. It's not powerlessness, it's surrender, a throne left empty because you're too afraid to claim it. This is where the drama rises, where the air grows thick with stakes. Imagine your mind as a kingdom, vast, turbulent, alive. Right now, it's a land divided. Fears hold the gates, old wounds whisper rebellion, desires clash in the shadows. You're not its guest, you're its king, born to bring order, to rule with purpose, to make the unconscious conscious. Jung didn't just see chaos, he saw potential, a realm waiting for you to step in, to face the dark and forge it into light. Most don't. They wander their own lands, lost, letting fate, their unclaimed shadow, decide their days. They'll live and die as echoes, never sovereigns, because they fear the weight of their own crown. But what if you didn't? What if you walked into that kingdom and claimed it? You're standing there now, at the edge of your own realm. I'm talking to you, right where your pulse quickens, right where your breath catches. You felt the call, that pull to be more, to think clearer, to live stronger. You've also felt the resistance, the voices saying you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. But Jung's vision wasn't for the perfect, it was for the brave, the ones who dare to face themselves and rule what they find. You've drifted, haven't you? Every time you've let fear sit in judgment, Every time you've followed their map instead of yours. Every time you've called your pain destiny. But drift isn't your name. You're a king, reader, and your kingdom's waiting. Not out there, but in here, in the mind you've left ungoverned. The stakes are sky high, the tension a living thing. Picture it, a throne yours, gathering dust while the world pulls your strings. You've been a puppet too long, dancing to their tunes, bending to their storms, reacting when you could reign. Jung's king doesn't react. He creates, he decides, he shapes chaos into purpose. You've glimpsed him, in moments of courage, in flashes of clarity, in dreams where you're more than their shadow. But glimpses aren't enough, are they? The unconscious rules until you make it kneel, until you face its truths and claim its power. Most won't. They'll stay lost, their kingdoms crumbling, their lives a string of if-onlys. They'll call it fate, but it's fear, fear of the dark, of the weight, of the self they've yet to meet. This is your wake-up call, your chance to shift the stars. The king within you isn't a myth, he's real, waiting in the depths Jung dared you to explore. You're not powerless, you're unclaimed, a sovereign who's forgotten his throne. The chaos of your life, the doubts, the stumbles, the endless pull of others, isn't a sentence, it's a signal, a cry from your kingdom for you to rule. Why do you wait? Why do you let fear wear your crown? You've been a wanderer in your own mind, but you don't have to be. Jung's vision is yours if you'll take it. Face the unconscious, forge your purpose, think with power. The throne's empty, reader, and it's yours to claim. Step forward, rule, and watch how fast your life bends to the will of a king. What would change if you thought with the clarity and strength of a king? Close your eyes and imagine it. A mind sharp as a blade, cutting through doubt, fear, and noise. Every thought aligned with a purpose so fierce it bends the world to its will. Not a flicker of hesitation, not a whisper of what if, but a steady, unshakable resolve that says, "This is my path, and I will carve it." Have you ever tasted that? Or does it feel like a distant star, too vast, too bright for your grasp? Most people stumble through their thoughts, scattered, reactive, small. But a king's mind? It's a forge, a crucible where power is hammered out through purpose. So let me ask you, are you ready to step into that fire and shape a mind that rules? The philosophy is luminous yet relentless. A king's mind isn't born. It's made, forged through discipline, self-awareness, and an unwavering commitment to purpose. Carl Jung called this individuation, the journey to become whole, to integrate every fragment of yourself into a sovereign self. It's not about silencing your doubts or banishing your shadows. It's about facing them, naming them, forging them into strength. A king doesn't drift on life's currents. He charts the course, not with arrogance, but with clarity, knowing who he is and why he's here. You've drifted, haven't you? Let others' voices steer your thoughts. Let fear cloud your vision. Let chaos sit where purpose could reign. Why settle for that when you could forge something unbreakable? Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors where there were only walls. Joseph Campbell's words echo Jung's call, pointing to purpose as the key that unlocks power. Bliss isn't fleeting pleasure. It's the deep, resonant pull of what matters most, the fire that fuels a king's mind. Purpose isn't found in grand gestures alone. It's in the quiet choices. To act when you'd rather hide, to speak when silence is easier, to stand when the world pushes you down. Most people ignore that pull, too afraid of its weight, too tangled in distraction to hear it. They think small, live small, die small, never knowing the doors they could have opened. But a king? He listens, he chooses, he forges his mind to serve his truth. What's your truth, and why aren't you forging it? Are you ready? Ready to forge a mind that commands your destiny, that doesn't bend to doubt or bow to noise? You've felt it, that pull towards something bigger, that ache to think stronger, to live truer. But you've also felt the drag, the weight of hesitation, the fog of indecision, the voices saying you're not enough. You're not a stranger to this battle, are you? Every time you've let a dream slip, every time you've muted your purpose to fit their frame, every time you've chosen safe over real. I see you, teetering on that edge, the forge glowing, the hammer waiting. You're not here to drift, you're here to rule. So why do you keep waiting? This is where the fire blazes, where the stakes tower like mountains. Forging a king's mind isn't gentle. It's brutal, a clash of will and shadow, a burning away of what's weak to reveal what's strong. Jung didn't promise ease, he promised truth, that your power lies in facing yourself, in choosing purpose over chaos. Most don't choose. They'd rather float, their thoughts a tangle of excuses, their lives a patchwork of someday. They'll never know the clarity of a mind aligned, the strength of a soul anchored. They'll stay pawns, not kings, because forging takes courage. Courage to question, to act, to stand alone when the world says kneel. You've knelt, haven't you? Every time you've ignored your bliss. Every time you've let fear forge your path instead. But kneeling's not your fate, not yet. Feel the heat of this, the pulse of it. Your mind's a forge, and right now it's waiting. Waiting for you to step in, to grip the hammer, to shape your thoughts into something mighty. This is your crucible, your moment to forge or fade. A king's mind doesn't flinch. It builds, thought by thought, choice by choice, until purpose is its pulse. You're not powerless, you're unformed, a mind waiting to be shaped. The chaos, the fears, the doubts, the endless what-ifs, isn't your enemy, it's your raw material. Forge it, make it yours. Most won't, they'll stay scattered, their minds a storm with no center, their lives adrift with no shore. They'll call it life, but it's less than they were born for, less than they could have been. But you're here, reader, feeling that fire, hearing that call. Maya forged her mind and found her power. Your turn's now. Step into the forge, hammer your purpose, and watch how fast your thoughts become a crown no one can take. The throne is empty, and it's yours to claim, not tomorrow, not when the stars align, but now. The world hums with chaos, pulling you toward doubt, distraction, smallness, but here you stand, at the edge of your own kingdom, a fire sparking in your chest. You've been a wanderer too long, reacting to life's tides, bending to its storms, letting others' voices drown your own. But no more. The crown of your mind, your purpose, your power, it's waiting, gleaming in the dark, heavy with promise and responsibility. This is your moment to rise, to think with clarity, to live with the unshakable strength of a king. So let me ask you, can you bear the weight of your own power and wield it with purpose? Most will shrink from their potential, too afraid to think boldly, too tethered to comfort to seek order. They'll drift through their days, pawns in a game they don't question, their minds a tangle of what-ifs and not-yets. They'll call it living, but it's less, a half-life, a shadow of what could have been, because they never dared to claim their throne. You've seen them, eyes down, choices timid, lives shaped by fear instead of fire. They're not powerless, they're unwilling, scared of the solitude, the clarity, the sheer weight of ruling their own souls. But you're not meant to drift. You're meant to reign, not over others, but over yourself, your thoughts, your destiny. Why settle for less when the crown is yours? I'm talking to you, right where your heart beats, right where your breath catches. You're not meant to follow, you're meant to lead your life, your mind, your soul. You've felt it, haven't you? That surge when you've stood tall, when your thoughts cut through the fog, when you've acted with a purpose that felt like fate. But you've also felt the pull, the doubts that claw, the fears that whisper, the world that begs you to stay small. You're tired, aren't you? Tired of reacting, of waiting, of being less than the king you know you are. I see you, standing at this crossroads, the throne in sight, the crown within reach. You're not here to echo their noise. You're here to roar your truth. So why do you hesitate? Why do you let their shadows dim your light? This is where the air ignites, where the stakes tower like cliffs against a raging sea. Carl Jung's vision wasn't for the timid. It was for the bold, the ones who'd face their chaos and forge it into order. The king within you doesn't flinch. He builds, thought by thought, choice by choice, purpose by purpose. Most don't build. They'd rather crumble, their minds a storm with no anchor, their lives adrift with no shore. They'll stay pawns, not kings, because claiming power means facing fear, means standing alone, means carrying the crown's weight. You've drifted too, haven't you? Every time you've silenced your purpose, every time you've bowed to their rules, every time you've let someday steal today. But drift isn't your name. You're a sovereign, and your kingdom's calling. Feel the pulse of this, the drama cresting like a wave. Your life's a canvas, and too long you've let others paint, their fears, their limits, their smallness. But the brush is yours, reader, and the colors are your truth, your power, your purpose. Victor stood in his own chaos, shop gone, future blank, and chose to paint. He didn't banish doubt, he played through it, turned it into music that moved strangers' hearts. You can move mountains if you'll dare. The world's a chorus of stay down, but a king's mind sings louder, clear, fierce, alive. Jung saw it. The unconscious rules until you make it kneel, until you claim your shadows and shape them into strength. Most won't. They'll stay lost, their crowns dust, their lives a sigh of if only. But you're here, now awake. This isn't a gentle plea, it's a war cry, a challenge to your core. The crown is yours, but it's heavy, forged in the fire of choice, polished by the grind of purpose. You're not powerless, you're unclaimed, a king who's forgotten his throne. The chaos, the fears, the doubts, the endless pull of others isn't your master, it's your material, waiting for you to shape it. Victor shaped his string by string, note by note, until his life sang. You'll shape yours too if you choose, not their path, not their noise, but your truth, your fire, your reign. The world doesn't need another follower, it needs a king, a mind that thinks with power, a soul that lives with purpose. Can you hear it? Your kingdom calling, begging you to rise. So step up, not later, not when it's safe now. Let the crown rest on your brow, let its weight anchor your will. You're not here to bend, you're here to build a life, a mind, a legacy that echoes beyond their reach. Jung's vision is yours. Face the dark, forge the light, rule your soul. Most will falter, too scared to claim their power, too soft to carry their purpose. Not you. You're the spark in the void, the roar in the silence, the king they didn't see coming. Victor claimed his crown and made the streets his stage. Your stage is waiting, bigger, brighter, yours. Think with power, live with purpose, where the crown only you can claim. Rise and let no one dim your reign.